Yes, friends. So the first point which I want to make over here, you can see, is the law of reflection which we are going to adopt while drawing the ray diagrams, which mentions angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. The second important point which is visible on your screen is the mirror formula, which is applicable to any type of mirror. May it be concave mirror, may it be convex mirror, or may it be plane mirror at times. Now, in this formula, if you observe, V stands for image distance, U stands for object distance, and F stands for the focus or focal length of the mirror, basically. M stands for magnification, and it's given by the ratio H dash to H, where H dash would be the height of image and H is the height of the object. The same thing can be interpreted in terms of image distance and object distance based on the law of, based on the similarity of the triangles of the ray diagram. Now, important points to be, understood over here before we actually start dealing with the ray diagrams are the sign conventions. Now, when I'm talking about sign convention, friends, the first point which you should note is always you want to measure the distance from the pole in case of a mirror. Had it been a lens, then it would have been the optical center. Then the second important point which you should understand over here is the distances which are measured in the direction of incident ray. You will consider those distances as positive. That means exactly opposite in the second point. If the direction is opposite and you are measuring some distance, with respect to incident ray, you should consider those distances as negative. That means along negative x-axis, the distances would be negative. Along positive x-axis, the distances would be positive. Similarly, the distances above the principal axis are to be taken positive, and distances below the principal axis are considered negative. Please make a note of this and just give me a hint so that we move forward. Yeah, most of you say done. Good. So let's exactly analyze how the ray diagram would look like, friends. Just give me a moment. Sorry. So let's have a look at this, okay? How the images are formed in case of convex mirror. The first diagram, if you see, the object AB is at infinity, and obviously the rays originating out of it would be the parallel rays which are shown in the diagram. Now, how they get reflected? Say, for example, the central ray, if you observe, it will get reflected from the pole of the mirror and it will straight away go back. Whereas, as the curvature effect comes into picture, the upper ray you can see, it appears, it gets reflected and it appears to get diverged from this point. You can see you extend it backward to focus. Same thing happens with the bottommost ray also. You can see you can just extend the reflection segment backwards and you will get the point focus. So if the object is at infinity, obviously the image will be formed at focus. This is possible for convex mirror, or we also call such mirror as diverging type of mirror. So wherever these rays meet, image will be formed. This is one thing to be noted. The second thing, if you observe, the object is not at infinity over here, then which rays are important for the formation of image? So let's understand that. The first ray will go parallel to the principal axis. You can observe this. And from that, it will get reflected. It will get appear to diverge from focus. So extend it backwards. So this is how you draw the first ray. The second ray will directly pass undeviated to the center of curvature, which lies here in case of convex mirror. And wherever these two rays meet, you can see the extension. and this. Okay, so you can see the extension meets this particular ray at this point. So there the image is formed. So here you can see the image is formed on the other side of the mirror between the pole and the focus. And if you observe the object and you observe the height of image, you can see the image is diminished in this case. Okay, so it's of smaller size as compared to object. So this is how these are the ray diagrams, or this is how you actually locate where the image would be formed for different situations so far as convex mirrors are concerned. So hopefully you have understood this. Please make a note of it and let me know in the chat section so that I proceed forward. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah. So most of you say done. Okay, good. Now let's move ahead then. Let's get into greater details. Okay. Here is an interesting situation you can see. If we talk about how the plane mirrors are rotated, say for example, there are two plane mirrors and they are rotated by some angle theta. So what can you say about their reflected rays? Okay, how what by what angle they would get rotated? So they would get rotated by 2 theta. This is something which you should remember, recall. All right. So far as the entrance problems are concerned. So for a fixed incident ray, basically, if the mirror is rotated through angle theta, then you are supposed to show that the reflected ray turns through an angle 2 theta in the same sense. The proof is not incorporated in your syllabus, friends, but then so far as knowledge is concerned, you should be aware of this, how much the reflected ray would get, rotated by. Okay, the proofs are available in Modern's ABC of Physics, so you can just have a look at that. And still, if you don't understand, we can have individual discussion on that. So hopefully you have noted this down. Why I have incorporated this point? Because maybe it's not there in your syllabus, but then entrance wise it is important. Entrance they have incorporated this. Let me know if you are done with it, so we move ahead. Yeah. Okay. So again, I repeat, it's a simple thing. If the mirror is rotated by theta, you can see the mirror which was horizontal, it is rotated by angle theta. So what effect it makes on the reflected ray? So reflected ray in the same sense, if mirror is moved by theta in this sense, anti-clockwise, the reflected ray will also move through 2 theta in this case. All right. This is something which you need to know, basically. Okay. Hopefully you have noted this down. So let's move ahead. There is another sequence for plane mirror you can see so far as rotation is concerned. So here, again, it's again important so far as entrance is concerned. These are certain things which you should remember, recall. Okay, so time and again, so that when it is needed for recalling during solving problems, it becomes easier for you. Here is a shortcut formula given to you for number of images formed by two inclined mirrors. So here you can see there are two inclined mirrors, and obviously the angle of inclination between the two mirrors is theta, and say some object is placed between the two inclined mirrors. So how many images are formed? Normally, whenever we go to a saloon or something, you might have seen the mirrors being inclined. Mirrors being inclined in every sense, friends, and we wonder how many images are formed in that case, isn't it? So let's understand this. Again, I repeat, if the two mirrors are inclined, okay, and the angle of inclination is theta, and there is some object, say, over here, so how many images would be formed in both the mirrors totally because of the reflection of those mirrors? So just observe this. If it is 360 by theta, whatever the theta is, if it is an even number, then the number of images formed has to be established this way: 360 by theta minus 1. So these many images would be formed. But if it is 360 by theta is a odd number, then the number of images would be established again. You can see, if it's an odd number, n would be, instead of, you know, if object is on the angle bisector. Remember this, okay? This formula is valid when object is on the angle bisector. When it means, say for example, if I draw a bisector over here and the object is lying on that bisector, then this formula is applicable even if 360 by theta is an odd number. This is how you would get number of image. But in the present situation, this particular object is not on angle bisector. Then how would you establish number of images if 360 by theta comes out to be an odd number? Then in that case, the formula which you want to use would be n equal to 360 by theta. So number of image would be given by 360 divided by theta. Moreover, if it gets more complicated, say for example, it's not an even number or odd number, it's not integer basically. So if 360 by theta is not an integer, then you have to calculate it manually. How you calculate manually, I will show you when we actually work out certain problems on that. All right. So as of now, please note it down. This is the rare situation which would be asked. Okay. This is something which is being frequently asked in examination. So directly you can work it out. Just please make a note of it and let me know once you're done with it. Yeah, most of you say done. Good. Now let's move ahead. Okay, hopefully done. Just give me a moment to get, I share a different screen with you people. Just a minute. Yeah, friends. So these are some ray diagrams. Please have a look at it. Just now we have seen how the images were formed in case of convex mirror. Then we had a discussion regarding the images formed in plane mirrors or two mirrors which are connected to each other with angle theta. Now let's discuss how the images are formed by a concave mirror. So for different situations, you can see if the object is at infinity, how the rays would move. So three rays would move parallel to principal axis. After reflection, they meet at point focus, you can see. So at the focus, the image would be formed when the object is at infinity. Now let's say the object is on the left hand side of the mirror, you can see. The first ray would move parallel to the principal axis, and after hitting the mirror, it will get reflected and it will move through focus like this. The second ray will directly move through the center of curvature without deviation, you can see. Okay. But then where these two rays meet, that's the point where the image is formed. So you can see the image is formed between center of curvature and focus if the object is placed beyond center of curvature. Now, if you observe diagram C, friends, uh, the object is exactly placed at center of curvature. The first ray, again, as usual, we discuss, moves parallel. After reflection will move through focus. All right. The second ray, you can see it will move through focus, hit, and then become parallel after reversing. Wherever these two rays meet, the image is formed. The image is also formed at center of curvature. If the object is at center of curvature, the image is also at center of curvature, and moreover they are of same size. Here the image was diminished, you can see, in case B. There onwards, let's discuss case D. In case D, you are putting the object between the focus and center of curvature. So let's say the first ray will move parallel to principal axis, and after reflection will move through focus. Here from this, it has to move through center of curvature. So let the ray move through center of curvature. Wherever they meet, the image will be formed. So here if you can see, if the object is between the center of curvature and focus, the image is formed beyond center of curvature. And what's the size of the image? You can see it's inverted first of all. Okay, here also the image is inverted but diminished. Here the object was of smaller size and the image is larger size, so it's magnified in this case. What if you place the object at focus? So at focus, you can see these rays. First ray will move parallel, after reflection will move through focus. Second ray will move through center of curvature and deviate it. So obviously the image formation will be at infinity. If the object is placed at focus, the image formation will be at infinity. Let's talk about the last possible case so far as concave mirrors are concerned. Now you just shift the object between pole and focus. So we have done that, okay? You can see the first ray will directly move through pole here in this case, okay? And then gets reflected as per angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. Now this ray which passes through center of curvature, if you talk about the ray over here and here, they were not going to meet. So image formation will be difficult somewhere here. So what we do, we extend these rays backward to get the image. And this is the image which is formed behind the concave mirror for this particular case. But how is the image? Image is erect, and important thing, it is magnified. So this is only one situation where the image will be formed beyond or behind the concave mirror, friends. So if you know these situations well, then image distances, mirror formula, magnification, all these problems can be worked out in a simple manner. So hopefully you have understood the image formation by concave mirror, friends. Please make a note of it. And once you are done with it, please intimate it to me. Yeah, most of you say done. So let's see. Yeah, okay. Just give me a moment. Where we actually talk of some problems in this. Oh, sorry. Give me a moment so that I show you the requisite slide. After mirror, let's move towards lenses. You all know the basic type of lenses which you can have is biconvex and biconcave. So being shown over here. So we will talk about the rules how image formation can be done in case of convex and concave lenses now. So lenses is something which will, the image formation will depend on the process of refraction. Whereas in case of mirrors, you have observed the basic cause of formation of image was reflection. Yeah, the concept is of refraction. The pole is replaced by optical center over here. So let's talk about which rays, rule 1, rule 2 and rule 3. Obviously rule 1, rule 2 and rule 3 means the three rays which originate or the way they are going to move and where they meet, they will form the image. So let's understand three rays, okay? So for convex side, you can see how you place the ray diagram. From optical center, you measure a distance till f1, same distance till 2f1. Same thing you do over here on the other side, f2 and 2f2. Everywhere you have placed the distances in the similar manner, you can see. All right. Now, what's the first ray? The first ray, always the object is kept on the left hand side. The ray comes from object. It moves parallel to the principal axis, and after refraction, not reflection, after refraction, it will move through the focus on the other side, you can see. This is the first ray. All right. Second ray for convex, you can see, will be the ray which moves through the optical center undeviated. The third ray, you can see, the ray coming from the object moves through the focus on the first side, hits the lens, and after refraction becomes parallel to the principal axis. So any of these three rays, you draw two rays, wherever they meet, image formation will be there for convex lenses, friends. Now, when it comes to concave lenses, let's understand the situation over here. The first ray which we have to consider for image formation is a ray which will move parallel to principal axis, and it will get refracted, obviously. So you have to extend it backwards. It will appear to move from the focus like this. So this is the first ray, friends. Second ray for concave lenses will be the ray which moves through the optical center undeviated. The third ray, you can see it hits the lens and it has to move through focus ideally if the lens was not there, but it moves parallel to the principal axis after refraction. So draw any of the two rays, and wherever they meet as per your requirement, image formation would take place there. I will show you the image formation cases, but then prior to that, just make a note of this, and hopefully you have understood this. So please let me know once you're done with it. Yeah, so most of you say done. So just a minute, okay? Just give me a moment. Let's not. Okay. Hopefully these situations are clear to everybody. So I will show you how exactly image formation will take place so far as convex lens is concerned. Say for example, you place the object here, you can see at 2f1. The first ray will move parallel to the principal axis, and after refraction through lens, it will move through the focus on the other side. The second ray would move directly through the optical center undeviated, and wherever these two rays meet, say for example this point, so here is the image form. So you can see if the person is standing at 2f1, the image formed would be at 2f2, isn't it? And you can observe it's of same size, so no magnification, or magnification is 1 in this case. Obviously, because it is formed on the other side, we will call it as a real image. And because it is inverted, we also call it as inverted image. So again, you can observe the nature of the image being formed over here. Please make a note of it, friends, before I show you the second case. And let me know once you're done with it. Okay, most of you say done. Okay, great. So let's understand the second situation now. Instead of 2f1, now the object is or the person is standing at F1. So at F1, you can see first ray moves parallel, and then it after refraction it will move through focus. Second ray moves to optical center undeviated. So if the object is at focus, the image will be at infinity. Obviously, it is on the other side, so it is real, and obviously it has to be inverted, but then it will be at infinity. Note it down, the second case I've shown you. Yeah, understanding these ray diagrams is very important process for us to solve problems. Then the solving problem becomes easier for us. Yeah, so most of you say done. So let's move ahead then.
So 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, let me know once you're done with it, okay?
Done, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay. So let's move ahead then. Now from F1, you can see these are the different ray diagrams for the images formed by convex lenses basically. So if the object is at infinity, you can see the image will be formed at focus on the other side. Beyond 2f, then the image is formed between f2 and 2f2, you can see, isn't it? Now it has 2f, we have seen the image will also be formed at 2f. If it is between f1 and 2f1, it will be beyond 2f over here, magnified image. Just now we have seen if the object is on the focus, the image will be at infinity. Now, if you just put the object between focus and optical center, then this is a situation which we have not seen. So let's understand this also. Ray moving parallel after refraction will move through the focus on the other side. One second ray moves undeviated through optical center. So they cannot meet anywhere. So we extend them backwards. So the image formed is on the same side. So virtual image and erect and magnified. So this is a different situation, friend, apart from the others. Please make a note of it. Once you're done with it, let me know. Yeah, so most of you say done. Okay. So let's have a look at how the problem formulation would be. Say for example, so we would be using lens formula just like we use mirror equation here. I'm just trying to tell you how the problems are formulated. Okay, so an object 5 centimeter in length is held at 25 centimeter. You can see height is 5 centimeter, held 25 centimeter. That means object distance. You are measuring it from optical center, so you should be considered minus 25. Focal length, they say 10 centimeter because it's a convex lens. Obviously, the rays converge here, so you are considering it as plus 10. Had it been concave, it would have been minus 10. So accordingly, you work it out and then place it in the solutions basically. Please make a note of this. It's not a problem, it's just a formulation of a problem. Once you understand formulation of a problem, then we can solve it. Just give me a moment. Friend. Yeah, friends. So this is how the formulation would be, most of you say, done. Similarly, here also for a concave lens, how the formulation can be. Say an object 5 centimeter in length is held 25 centimeter away from a concave lens of focal length 10 centimeter. Right. So here you can see the focal length will be on this side because it's a concave lens. You have to consider it as negative from optical center. Okay. So here earlier slide you can see. Sorry. Earlier slide you can see it, the focal length was considered plus 10 because of concave convex lens. Here you will consider it as minus 10, and accordingly you will move ahead with your problems. That's what I wanted to tell you. So hopefully you have understood this.